If I say the word perfectionism to you, what first comes to your mind? Do you think of it as a kind of good thing? Especially if you're in software development or you work with software developers. When you hear perfectionism, what do you think? Do you think, yeah, that's right, we should be, perfectionists. We should be aiming for it to be, as perfect as we can make it? Or do you think of, no, put the brakes on there. Perfectionism can be really harmful. And depending on which of those you fall in, why? Are you aware that thinking of things from a perfection point of view can actually harm you? If you think about an end point to what you're doing, if you think about, finishing, like this feature will finish once this level of perfection has been reached, are you aware that that can actually be difficult? You can, there's a number of things that you can fall into there when you do that. So, like, firstly, you can spend a long time planning, aiming to get a perfect result on paper, as it were. And if you get past that, you can be trapped in sort of trying to develop it to fully realize that perfection. And again, that can take a very long time. That's the problem with perfectionism, is that it never finishes. You can always improve. If you really think that there is a point where you get to and it's perfect, then that's a separate conversation. I think most people will acknowledge that things can always be better. But the problem is we don't marry those two things together. We kind of think perfection is a definite article. It's done, it's finished, it's complete. But then we simultaneously, with sort of a level of cognitive dissonance, if you like, say, but things can always be better. Well, then what do? Can they always be better? Can you hit perfection? What I would suggest is we just accept that perfection is like the number infinity. It exists, but it's not practical in any kind of day-to-day sense. And rather than strive for something that by definition is infinite, that we should really focus a lot more on just accepting that better is good enough. It's a very pragmatic and very practical way to get results, just to make it better. Not perfect, but better. Like, nothing is not working, it doesn't exist, it doesn't implement. If I said to you, right, you've got nothing, but I can give you something, like, someone wants to calculate their pension or something, and they don't even know what the formula is. Before I sit down and write up a fully fledged, computer sort of online platform that's sort of load balanced and, multi-tiered and, filled to the brim of all the architectural decisions you could cram into a year and stuff, if I just gave them the formula, that would be better than what they had, because they're just literally saying, I want to know what I'm going to get in my pension, when I retire or whatever. And I don't even know where to start with that. So you got nothing. If I can just give you the formula, that's better than nothing. And now beyond the formula, if I could say, well, here you go, here's an Excel spreadsheet or something, or a Google Sheets doc, whatever, but some way of being able to plug in a couple of numbers, that would be better than the formula, and so on and so on and so on. Now, from the customer's perspective, they didn't get the fully fledged, multi-user supporting kind of online platform that's, language specific to the regions it's in, and all these other kind of amazing bells and whistles and stuff, but that's not what they wanted. If you as a developer were tasked with giving that, would you have thought of using a non-software solution? Or would your team, if you work with software developers or work with software guys, think that to answer that problem, you don't even need to give a software solution? Just the formula would have been fine. You don't know what your pension is? Well, this is how you find it out. That would be helpful, right? That would make that person's life a bit better. And if the next thing you did made it a bit better and a bit better and a bit better, especially if they're paying money, that's results that they're going to really, resonate with, that they're going to enjoy, they're going to appreciate. Sitting down for 3 months and planning this perfect solution, you could have just given them the formula, right? They could have at least worked with that, and you could implement and increment, changes that improve upon that until that's not the most important thing in their work stream, until that's not the most important thing. So be careful when you think about perfection. Be careful when you strive for perfection. It can sound great, it can sound like this is a person who really, wants to do the best they can do. But remember, it's not the best you can do. It's the best for your client. What is the best you can do for them? That's the part that you have to remember. Not what's the best you can do, what's the best you can do for them. Because ultimately, they're the reason we're doing anything in the first place. So something to think about, and I hope it helps.